Hi, it's Hans at happierman.com. Today's topic is weight training poundages. The pounds, how much you lift. I'm in the U.S., so I use pounds, not kilograms. One thing I've kind of a little pet peeve of mine is in the U.S. we talk about body weight in pounds, but yet when we talk about food, we convert it to grams. So that never makes sense to me. It should all be in pounds and ounces, but whatever. Weight training poundages, it's a pretty good idea to have a fair idea of what numbers that you personally can probably work your way up to, and then once you get to those weights, you call yourself strong enough to try to stay around that with fluctuations due to your life and your lifestyle. A number that's kind of thrown around quite a bit to be considered pretty strong is about 1,000 pound total when you add up your deadlift, squat, and bench press weight. So you do your personal best in those three and see how much they add up to. 1,000 pounds is a lot of weight. Now certainly it's not nearly as much as a highly trained power lifter can lift. It's not as much as your big time your NFL players that can lift. It's not as much as your competitive bodybuilders can lift. But are you any of those things? Probably not. So if you can kind of, that's my target actually, 1,000 pounds for the total. Last year I got up to about 960 pounds between the three of them. And it wasn't just for one rep, it was for multiple reps, right? I'm not quite sure that I want to do just one rep. I'm just working out for my health. So when I did that, and I didn't try to do it all in one day, it was what is my maximum amount over a couple of weeks or a month of, when I was at my strongest. So yeah, that's to me that was pretty strong. I'd worked my way up to some fairly significant weights to add up to that amount. I was able to do a rep or two or three or four at my highest weight, and I was figuring I was very strong. Of course, unfortunately, I hurt my back on that limit deadlift on New Year's Eve of 2019, and then I had to take a 2-week layoff from all lifting. See, that's kind of the problem when you're chasing big poundages like that, is you'll strain yourself and then go backwards. So I had to not lift for 2 weeks, let my back heal, and then when I started up again, I had to go real low. I had to go way low. I was weak. I was detrained in a couple of weeks, plus my back was in bad shape. So you like I've said many times in these videos, you don't want to get hurt weight training, but you still want to have some kind of a target, some sort of a number that you keep working your way up toward. It gives your mind something to shoot for. And depending on your size too, that makes a big difference. I'm a bigger guy, so 1,000 pounds ought to be on the table. Now, and after the COVID layoff, I didn't lift March, April, May. Got going in June, and then for a variety of reasons, July and August were very light. Now September, I'm getting starting to get my strength back, and the weights are creeping up, but I've got a long way to go. I don't know that I'll be, by the end of this year, I'm not sure that I'll be up into that range that I was at last year. But that's what I'm shooting for. The 1,000. Eventually, I want to get to that 1,000 pounds. I think that'd be pretty good for an aging guy in his 50s to have done it, and then to keep those, to work with those weights. Those are big weights, right? When you divide 1,000 by 3, that means they all got to be 333. Well, yeah, your bench is going to be less than your squat, and your squat's going to be less than your dead. So the dead should dominate the number. So yeah, I would. But just because you can't lift 1,000 pounds doesn't mean you're not strong, right? How much does a person who doesn't lift weights lift? Right? They lift 0, so there's really no way to tell how strong they are. And you'll see some guys might be naturally strong, and they could come into the weight room and do a big bench, but they're not flexible enough to squat below parallel, or they're really big in the belly. They can't even bend over, to pick up a barbell off the floor. So you would want to kind of develop your own weight training poundages that make sense for you. And the way you do that is just, well, what do you lift now with perfect form, without hurting yourself, in a reasonable volume of weight training workout, with enjoying the rest of your life. The thing you'll notice with the people who do the best with powerlifting and weight training competition, it's their life. That's the main thing in it, is the lifting. Now, for most of us, that's not going to be the main thing. It's just it's a part of life, an important part for your health and well-being, but it isn't everything, right? Other things are as important or more. But I would tend to elevate your own health, strength, and well-being to very high on the list. So that's why I don't think it hurts you to develop some realistic strength standards that you are trying to work your way up to. So I know what I lifted last year, so I know that I can try to work up to that number and then go a little bit higher. And I know men of my size can lift about that much, or more. And I know that if I put my mind to it and keep working out at a consistent basis and focus on my recovery, I'll be able to do it. So give that idea some thought. Develop some realistic weight training poundages for yourself that you can work toward, that gives you motivation to get to the gym each week, to know when you're strong enough to listen to your body and back off when you're before you strain yourself, before you hurt yourself. Back it down, give yourself some time to recover. Don't strain your elbows and your shoulders and your knees and your back and your wrists, all that normal stuff that hurts when you overdo it. It takes time for those connecting structures, connecting areas to get strong enough to handle those big weights. So give that idea some thought, all for now.